Hello everybody. So I am going to be making a chuck eye steak and a Denver steak for dinner. I'm also going to be cooking some roast. I got these all from a chuck roll that I had butchered. I'm going to be using my KitchenBoss Sous Vide Machine to cook this meal. Okay, so these two pieces at the top are the chuck roast. This right here is a chuck eye steak. As you can see, it kind of looks like a ribeye, it has a cap right there. The reason why it looks like a ribeye is because the ribeye roast actually goes into the chuck roll. So that's the end of the ribeye. This right here is the Denver steak. For the seasoning for the chuck eye steak and the Denver steak, I use Meat Church's Holy Gospel rub. That's why it looks a little more red than the top roast. For the roast, I used salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, and paprika. That's just the combination I usually like to use for most meats. Now, the benefits of buying a chuck roll and cutting it up yourself are the price. You can get it for a lot cheaper than you would buying the steaks individually, even the roast individually, just because the roast costs a lot more than a whole chuck roll does. Now, there is a high initial cost because it's a big piece of meat, it's 27 pounds. But once you get it butchered up, it makes a huge price difference in how much you spend on the meat for the month, the week, what have you. Okay, so now it's time to actually start cooking the meat. I'm going to put it inside the sous vide water bath. Just going to make sure I get all the meat in there. Now, I didn't fill up the container to the full line because the water is obviously going to get displaced as you put the meat inside. Due to water displacement, you'll see now that all the meat is inside the sous vide water bath. You'll see the water is now at the max line. Okay, so I have my sous vide container covered with foil to help with the evaporation. I have my temperature set at 134. That gives you a good medium rare. Also, I'm going to set it for above 2 hours. The timing doesn't matter too much as long as you give it enough time. And get them ready to be seared. You want to pet them dry because the moisture will prevent the Maillard reaction and you will not get that sear. You won't have the good flavor. It'll just be like a boiled steak almost, which oddly enough, that's kind of what it is. Okay, got the tallow in here. Gonna let that melt. Then we're gonna get the steaks on here. So it's nice and smoking hot. Gonna get the meat on there. It's over. Got a nice sear on one side. Just go to the second side. Hardest part is waiting. Okay, so the meat is done searing. And during the searing process, my phone actually died. So right now I'm charging it as I am recording this. So if you hear any noise from the cable, I apologize. So here's the meat. This is the Denver steak. We're gonna give this a shot. Ooh. That's pretty good. Okay, here's a chuck eye steak. We're gonna give this a shot. It has a little piece of the cap, a little piece of the main body. Mm. Mm. Now this is pretty good steak. For how cheap they were, really amazing. I'm really impressed.